The original purpose of this video was to take a recording from a number of different iPhones using a number of different methods and try and find an audible difference between them, or I don't know, just try and find some very definite difference between them. However, I'm going to give you the conclusion of the video first. Really, there is no difference between them, at least on a standard system. I really struggle and was really surprised at how good the quality was right across the board. So if that's all you wanted to know from this video, then there you go. There's the answer. All of it works fine, okay? It just sounds fine. If you want to go into a little bit more detail, then stay with me, as I will talk to you about what I what I went through and what I recorded and why I recorded it that way. But realistically, it's all going to come back to the same sort of conclusion. So firstly, the track that I chose was a song from 2L.no. And I don't know if you visited that site before, but they're a kind of a company that deal in high-resolution audio. And I'm not going to go on about any kind of high-resolution audio now, but I do believe in recording in high-res or mastering in high-res. As for listening in high-res, not going to go there right now. However, these guys know what they're doing when it comes to recording, and they master beautifully. They record beautifully. The stuff that you get from them sounds fantastic. And that's the reason I chose a track from them. This is a track from the Hof Ensemble, and it's called Blagutten, I think. I'm not sure on the pronunciation. I did try and learn it, but I'll put it up on screen and someone can maybe correct me. It's Norwegian, anyway, I think. I could be wrong with that. Anyway, so the track that I picked is a jazz track, and the reason I picked that is because it's got a lot of dynamic range. It's very clean, it's very nice, and I'll just quickly share that track with you now. Okay, let's get the spin on a little bit. So you can see the kind of music we're talking about. Not my kind of thing whatsoever. However, when you play it on a reasonable hi-fi, it sounds great. And I don't know, you can get sort of washed away in it to some extent. It's brilliant. So this is the original here. If I zoom in, I'll take you through the different versions. I recorded it on a DR100 field recorder, and the track itself is 44 kilohertz, 16-bit. The reason I went for that sample rate, that bit depth, is because, from what I can tell, the lightning connector on an iPhone outputs at that sample rate natively. If I connect it to the back of my DAC, that's the sample rate that shows on the DAC. And from what I've read, that's the sort of that's what you would expect an iPhone to be outputting at. So I wanted to try and keep everything the same throughout. So the original here, although it was originally mastered at much higher resolution, has much higher sample rate, has come down to 44.1. So this is the original file. Then we've got the iPhone 5 headphone jack going into a DR100 field recorder directly, so just analog. iPhone 6 Plus headphone jack going into a DR100. iPhone 8 dongle, so of course the iPhone 8 doesn't have a headphone jack, going into a DR100. And the iPhone 8 lightning connector into the back of a DAC on the USB port, so digital all the way to that point. We're not using the digital to analog converter in the dongle here, and then out of the headphone out on the DAC to the DR100. And finally, the iPhone 8 via the lightning connector into the DAC and out of the SPDIF of the DAC into the digital in of the DR100. And this last one you would expect to be pretty much a bit-for-bit copy. Well, maybe not quite, but certainly close. And that shows, because if we take a look at the original one and scan that now and zoom into the amplitude statistics, we can see that the peak amplitude is minus 0.42 and minus 0.4 in the right channel. Average RMS and stuff will differ because one has got a little more quiet at the start where I kind of had to record and then play and stuff. But if you look at the one recorded in the SPDIF in, I do the stats on that, minus 0.42, minus 0.40. So, exactly the same levels, which is what you would expect. So the first thing I'm going to do quickly is whiz through these other 4 and increase the levels, just using a normalize effect. I'm going to increase the levels to 0.42 in the left channel. I want to go to normalize here, and I've already got it in here because I set it up to speed things up. And I can just increase that one. Right, there we are. So they are now all at exactly the same level. So if I go to the one with a headphone, just the standard iPhone 5 coming out on the headphone jack, scan that, I now have minus 0.42 and, interestingly, minus 0.9 because they're going to be different, You're taking it just over an analog cable and sticking it straight into a field recorder, which has its own characteristics and stuff. So they will be different. The question is, how different? And the only answer I can give you, based on the stuff that I can look at, is not much. So really the disappointing thing is there's not much to show you. I'll just quickly play you this just so you can hear it. And let's go to the original one and let's have a quick listen to a bit of that. Yeah. Not rubbish, is it? I mean, some of you will be listening on probably a much better system than me or something, but there's not that much in it. And anyway, we're watching this on YouTube. And that brings me to another point. In the description below, I will post the file, links to all these files. So if you can be bothered, if you're interested in hearing any of these files and the potential differences between them, and just throwing my argument out of the window that they all sound the same, download them, take a listen, and see what you think. Because I don't really think there's too much difference between them. So if you look at the iPhone 5, one thing we can note is that it has full spectrum here, right up to 22K. So very similar to the original. We've got nothing cut off. As I've just flicked through the file here randomly, you can see that full spectrum right across the board. Now, I know there's much more to analyzing an audio file than this, than just looking at frequency and things. But, I'm just talking about listening to it, which I have done, and just quickly looking at a few basic statistics, okay? Then again, iPhone 6, same result. Yeah, similar results from the headphone jack. Interestingly though, the dongle, there's something clearly in the DAC, so the DAC that's in the dongle itself. And yeah, the dongle contains a DAC. Did you know that? That has a filter. So it has a kind of sharp roll-off filter of some description that actually cuts it off at about 20K, not unlike other filters in DACs to reduce noise. And you notice that if I look at the DAC, the way my DAC was set up at the time of recording this out of the headphone out, it has the same sort of roll-off around 20K. No idea why, but it looks like the dongle itself does sound different. Now, it sounds different technically, but in reality, well, let's play. Let's look for a rough bit that's the same. So around about 55 seconds, we've got this bit. Let's play this bit from the iPhone 5 jack. And now let's try and look for the similar bit from the this would probably be this bit, won't it? There's the dongle. Now let's go to the original and look for the same bit on the original. Not sure why that is. Can you hear the difference? Well, maybe you can. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, yeah, so this ended up being one massive disappointment and potentially a bit of a waste of time, but at least when people go to you and say that Apple ruined it by introducing the dongle and now their headphones sound useless, you can say that's a load of bollocks, because they don't. They sound fine. They sound just perfectly fine. And download these files as you wish and take a listen to them. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure some of you out there will come to this video and will be way more educated than I am on this particular subject, and can probably add some more information, some more technical background to some of the differences between the iPhone models or something. But there you go, just a look at the difference in sound quality, or lack of it, between different models, and the headphone jack, the dongle, and the USB digital lightning out on the iPhones.